righty, welcome everybody to this new episode of Brownsville Tech Live. And tonight, I'm honored to have my good friend Doug Blunt, also known as the Apple Guru of Gurus for the RGV. Doug, welcome back.
Glad to be here anytime.
It almost seems like yesterday when we were on, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Talking
But
about
we had a
Dave
good time.
Ramsey. Anyway, Doug. Well, today is a different kind of episode. And as I mentioned, we're kind of making a little change in the format. In the past, we've done single topic episodes, but now we're going to do multi topic episodes, kind of like Leo does on his podcast, in This Tech. So basically, what we're going to talk about first is This Week in Tech.
This week in tech. You need to have a
do
drum.
like
You need to have a drum roll in there, or trumpets.
I
You need to
know,
have
right?
trumpets. Yeah, this week in tech.
Well, actually, Doug, I do have some. I have
Did you freeze on me?
no. You there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm right here.
So I have buzzers, claps.
For more awesome content, like and subscribe now.
Well, you need to put that in post. Yeah.
Right? And
yeah,
you need to put
what?
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Our lower thirds for our baseball show coming up. You see how
I like that. I like that idea.
You see
the lower thirds.
Yeah, you see how the little ball flipped? Yeah. But for tonight, I've got a different set of lower thirds.
Okay. No,
so
that looks good.
I've been messing around with some animation and stuff like that.
No, that's
I've
good.
Also got
Makes it more professional looking.
I've also got a little spin wheel with the social media. I've been having a blast with this animation lately.
That's great.
So anyway, folks,
especially the lower thirds.
Right, the lower thirds, yeah. Yeah, one of the things we're going to talk about is some of the things that happened this week in tech. Usually there's a lot of stuff that happens during the week and we don't necessarily cover it because we tend to focus on a single topic. But tonight we're going to look at what happened this week in tech. And then Doug is going to follow on with some of the new things that are coming up on the Apple side. There's some exciting products. There's also some sales going on right now with some of the products. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I'm going to flip over to the theater screen. And by the way, we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So we're trying to target some of the younger folks on Twitch. Hey, Doug, have you been on Twitch?
No, I haven't. I hear about it all the time, though.
Yeah. It started off as a gaming platform for gamers, but now there's a lot of podcasts. Leo Laporte also has moved all of his shows onto Twitch. So you've got Twit TV on Twitch. So you can actually catch all of Twit TV's live streams right within Twitch.
Okay. I know it's very popular.
Yeah, it is getting very popular. Yeah.
And I believe Microsoft owns that, don't they, Twitch?
No, Amazon.
Oh, Amazon owns it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in fact, I had a Twitch account before set up, and we were supposed to stream starting last year. But when Amazon took over, they started reevaluating certain accounts. So they blocked mine for a couple of months.
Oh God, the
Yeah,
kiss of death.
I know. So anyway, we've got our virtual iPad, and one of the things I
Virtual
don't know if you
iPad.
heard about is the rollout of rollable phones. And what these are phones that with the press of a button, the screen actually extends up. So like this phone right
Oh, I haven't
here,
heard this one.
yeah, what happens is you can see that in the next picture right there, that was the original phone. They press the button and the phone extends up. So from a 5-inch screen or a 4-inch screen, it extends 6 or 7 inches.
Oh wow.
And
Huh.
yeah, and the ones that came out with this is Motorola and Lenovo. Now, as funny as it is, not see how it kind of rolls up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Lenovo came out with a new laptop also that does the rollable display. Apparently, Samsung
Okay.
is also is coming up with some foldables and rollables. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see, what happens there in the rollable technology.
Yeah, I know the
Um,
foldables, they've been out for a few years now. The first ones were kind of crappy, but now I understand they're getting pretty good at it.
do you think do you think Apple's going to come out with a foldable?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, not when they're selling as many iPhones as they do.
Yeah.
I think they want to probably go in a different direction.
I mean, it's an interesting technology,
Yeah, it is.
you know.
Yeah.
I
Sort of
just
like
don't know.
remember the old Blackberries? They used to have the little keyboard on the bottom.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They kind of
We used to
flipped over.
we used to have
Hmm.
somebody that worked with us at our old employer that we used to make fun of because he spent too much time in meetings looking at his BlackBerry. You know who I'm talking about,
I
right?
think I think I know who that was too.
He was the
I
old
think he
materials
was.
manager.
The
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 one with
what?
the fake hair.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah,
I
that
tell you,
guy.
the guy the guy that amazed me. He used to be the plant manager at Plant 4. I was over at Matamoros walking around with him one day, and man, he was just flipping right through that BlackBerry like there's no tomorrow. He was, we were talking and walking, and he was just flipping, going through all the emails. It was fast. I was impressed.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would say that it was faster to look at emails through that BlackBerry than it is today with our touch screens.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. This technology is something we'll have to follow as we go along. But that was a pretty big deal this week. Have you ever thought of buying yourself a beverage printer?
A beverage printer, is that like a 3D printer or what is it? It prints a
No.
beverage out?
It's well they call it a they they call it a printer, but it really isn't a printer. It's a soda maker. From sodas to cold brews to cocktails, this machine can make virtually any cold beverage and lets you adjust sugar, caffeine, and alcohol levels too.
Ah, okay.
So
It's
imagine
not
that.
nothing. It's nothing like the hamburger they tried to make up in the space station that one time with a 3D printer, was it? Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't taste
I
so
mean,
good.
that's a no, I don't think it would, you know. Of course, this printer is going to cost about $900,
I'll be darned.
so if
And
you
who
want to
sells
get
it?
some expense, it's a company called It's a startup. It's a Silicon Valley startup. Wouldn't you be surprised? It's called
Hmm.
Canna. The company's called Canna,
Okay.
and the machine is called Canna One. And it basically says it'll allow you to create and customize virtually any cold drink by playing around with a small percentage of compounds. Using the
I'll be
machine's
darned.
built-in touchscreen, you can choose from an assortment of energy drinks, seltzers, soft drinks, and even cocktails. You can adjust
Hmm.
flavors and sugar, caffeine and alcohol levels, and add nutrients. Tap a button, and the machine will pour your drink.
I'll be darned.
Pretty interesting.
Hmm.
And we complain about the cost of bottled water.
And we buy a lot of bottled water in this house. Fiji
I
water.
know. Well, I do too, Doug. I go through bottled water like crazy, you know. I
Yeah.
actually have a water bottle dispenser, but the company
Oh,
that we were
really?
using, yeah, wasn't delivering the water when we needed it. So I got rid of them. I still have the
When
dispenser.
I lived, 30 years ago, 20 years, 25 years ago or so, when I lived in California, we had bottled water. We had a service that came to our house and, dropped off a couple bottles a week. They were fine. It wasn't that expensive and, you could count on them and everything. But I'm
Yeah.
surprised it hasn't caught on down here.
Well, like I said, these people delivered our water, but they didn't deliver it when I needed it.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's the biggest problem. They would leave me about
Okay.
4 bottles. And I'll be honest with you, we'd finish one bottle in about 3 days because, when I'm here working, you know, um, I'm
Yeah.
drinking water like crazy.
We use a
So,
lot of water and we drink a lot of water. She's always, you know, I kind of
well, it's much
discovered this
healthier.
this Lipton diet iced tea with no sugar in it. I gave up the
Yeah, my
Gatorade
wife
because it had
likes
a little
that.
sugar in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think and HB's got a private label. I think it's the same stuff. I think, but
yeah.
yeah, water. I'm surprised the water vendor hasn't. Well, I guess they still like going to the water mills, right? Down here,
Well, believe it or not, I actually like the water from the water mill compared to some of the other ones like Avant. I think that
really.
they've got a better reverse osmosis system. So I believe that the water tastes better. But who knows? I mean, a lot of people
We had Arrowhead.
disagree.
We had Arrowhead out in California, but back in those days, they didn't have the handle on
Yeah.
the water bottles. That's kind of a pain
Oh
in the butt,
gosh.
trying to lift a water bottle up. So I always, and especially for her, she couldn't do it, and so I had to do it all the time. But now since they've got the water handle on them, with the little handle on them, it makes them much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the other things that has happened this year, and I know you're not big into games, but one of the things that you could do in the past when you wanted to play games portably is you had the option of buying a Nintendo Switch or
Right.
maybe
My
a
grandson's got
Sony
one.
device. Well, there has been a development this past year with something called the Steam Deck, and it's kind of caught on. And one of the things that it allows uh, people to do is to play Steam games and Xbox games directly on the little handheld controller. It's about the same price as a Nintendo Switch, but one of the nice things about this is Steam is a PC game service, and they've got a lot of free
Right. It's
games.
internet based, right?
It's internet based, yes. Hey guys, stop it. The dogs are barking. So these devices basically yeah, allow you to actually play Steam games, and it's caught on. I mean, so there's some competition to Nintendo and Sony out there. So that's kind of interesting right
Okay.
now. Let's see here. There's a couple of other. interesting articles. Apple Arcade. Have you messed with Apple Arcade? I actually joined.
Uh,
It
yeah, I'm a member. But the only time I've ever used it was when my grandson was down here and he was using
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I joined. So I'm trying to kind of see what I can
are you playing the
play.
Oregon Trail?
No.
That that's an old time Apple. That's like the original Apple game, right? Oregon Trail is.
Yeah, and I think it ported over to the Commodore 64 back in those
Yeah.
days. Remember the Commodore 64?
Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
one.
that's a really yeah. So yeah, that's on the arcade. That's on my Apple. That's on our Apple Plus subscription service. You know the family plan. But
Right.
to tell you the truth, I'm afraid to get started because I don't think I'll be able to quit
Well, I actually
because
downloaded. I've got
I kind
the
of roll that
NBA.
way.
Yeah. Well, I
Once I
downloaded
get
the
started on
NBA.
something, I can't stop.
So I downloaded this Apple Arcade game on the iPad. And so
Okay.
you basically pretend to be an NBA team.
Yeah, you know I'm a beast. You know I'm a beast. Welcome to
Oh, you're gonna play
yeah, you
basketball?
know I'm a
Okay.
beast.
Well, I'm just going
You
to
know
show you.
I'm a beast. Welcome to the feast. My whole team off the leash.
Many years ago, we lived in Grand Rapids, and I had a PS2,
Yeah.
PS1, I forget. It had the NBA basketball game, and we
Yeah.
lived in an apartment building, and there was a 13-year-old girl that lived right below us that hung around with Taylor, and she come up every Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday night, and we would play that, and she kicked my ass every time. Every time.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
unbelievable.
you know what's interesting is that I'm running this on an iPad Pro, an older
Okay.
generation iPad Pro. It's not even the latest.
It probably runs no problem at all, does it?
Oh, it does. It runs fine.
Yeah.
Now the
Those
only thing
iPads,
about
man,
it,
they're indestructible.
oh, I'm telling you, the graphics are just amazing.
That's the reason why they're not selling any of them right now because they're so indestructible. iPads are.
Hey, I lost my connection. What happened? Oh, you know why? Because I went to full screen. Let me see. I think that's what the issue is.
Apple's poured a ton of money into an arcade.
Oh yeah. Let me
And they're
see.
actually paying the developers to develop games, and helps help them on their income.
Yeah, let me restart the AirPad server here.
Okay.
Give me a second.
But they actually, they're actually paying developers to develop games, and then I think they got Apple usually takes 30% of everything.
Yeah.
I think they got a different cut, or they get all the income. I know they want on that would like to read, but you don't want to read them. You wouldn't listen to them. Well, now what they're doing on iBooks, they don't have too many books on there, but they're AR books. They're talked by artificial intelligence.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
There's like maybe a half a dozen books on there. I listened to for about 15, 20 minutes, and the voices sound really good. It's not it's not like the mechanical voices. It sounds like somebody's talking.
Well, speaking of artificial intelligence, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to go out to the company that has developed the GPT.
I have.
The,
Yeah, and
company's called
I've spent some time
OpenAI.
on it.
Yeah. And one of the interesting things about it is some of the dangers, and I call it dangers, of what Chat GPT may do to the tech industry. Let me just verify that I'm human here. And one of the things that is interesting, for example, is that ChatGPT has the potential to get rid of programmers, computer programmers. And I'll give you an example. I'm going to say Python script to connect to MySQL database. And what ChatGPT does automatically is it generates an entire script in Python that develops the entire computer code to connect to a MySQL database.
Ain't that something?
So it
It's yeah,
so so instead of
it's
paying a
coming.
$50,000 programmer, you can now use
That has to that
ChatGPT.
has to have a free lunch every day and calls in sick every once in a while. This guy here does it for all the time for nothing, right?
Yeah, and this is the script. I've used this script. You know, I had to build one from scratch at one time.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just phenomenal, Doug. But it's scary at the same time because a lot of people that are going to the tech industry, especially in programming or coding, this kind of stuff may cause them to go obsolete.
Well, the politicians always say, we need more coders, right? Okay. If a coal miner in West Virginia loses his job, they go, well, he can code. He might be 55 years old, but he can learn how to code, right?
Yeah.
That's what the politicians say. Yeah, I've used it quite a
Well,
bit, mainly on, um, for example, I'll give you a good example. Okay, there's a book. You've heard of Lawrence of Arabia, right?
yes.
Okay, the movie and all that. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw the movie the other
Now I
day
haven't
and
seen
I
the
kind
movie
of got
by the way.
okay.
I haven't seen the movie.
Interesting character. Well, he wrote a book back in like 1926 called The Seven Pillars of Wisdom, and it tells about his exploits as Lawrence of Arabia. Okay. And I started reading that book and I started about 10 times and I'm still not through it because it's written in 1926 and it's written by English guy, Lawrence, okay, and
Yeah.
T.E. Lawrence. And you know how the English talk, they kind of say a lot of stuff that don't really mean anything, right? You've
Yeah.
been on the Pontypool calls before. And anyway, I said, write a, as I told it said, write me an essay on the Seven Pillars of Wisdom by T.E. Lawrence. And it actually wrote it, and it wrote it about, gave me about 1,000 words, and then
Yeah.
it actually broke it down by category, 1, 2, 3,
Wow.
4, 5, and I got more out of that than I have so far out of the book. Okay, because the book is very difficult to read. And I'll give you
Yeah.
another example. Mike Pompeo just recently wrote a book called "Never Give an Inch." Okay,
Right.
and I said, write me a book review on Never Give an Inch by Mike Pompeo. And it wrote it about 1,000 words. Okay. And it was very accurate. Okay.
Wow.
And then I put a lot of crazy stuff in there, like whatever happened to Martin Bormann. Okay. And it just goes down and it's pretty impressive. Now, on the other hand, you've heard about Bing, right?
Yeah.
What happened on Bing
Microsoft's.
is that people would get on there and they were on there for like an hour or 2 hours, and Bing got confused and they were telling them that they were worthless human beings and they should not be using this all the time. They should be working, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff. So Microsoft had to pull Bing off for a little while, and now they limit it to like 5 questions.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, the
Well,
old Joaquin Phoenix movie, I don't know if you've seen this. It was called Her about 5,
uh-huh.
10 years ago, where this he's a loner. He's in love with a chat box, AR chat box, just like this.
Yeah.
Okay. And and he starts talking to her and he falls in love with her and they have a romance back and forth. Okay. And then eventually she dumps him. Okay. She's all AR. Okay. It's a pretty interesting movie.
Yeah.
And he
Well,
goes nuts. Yeah.
it'll be in, one of the things that I think about is I remember when I was in college, my best friend was the copy machine and Cliff Notes. I tell you what, with Chat GPT, being a college student will be great. It'll create
It's
all
Cliff
kinds of
Notes, man.
research papers and essays
That's what they're afraid of. I've seen
for
it
you.
on TV. The news broadcast, they go, a lot of, and a lot of kids are using it. But,
Yeah.
some teachers, they like it and some teachers, they don't. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You still got to be
Well, I
smart
tell you
enough.
what.
You got to know something about the subject to put it in there, you know?
Right. And then of course, even with the code like I have here, I mean, you got to kind of know what to plug in to this stuff. It's going to give you like a foundation, but you still got to know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, it may cut
And just
programming
getting
time
down.
quite a bit.
Yeah. And just look at your iPad now. Okay. There's
Yeah.
software on your iPad called Shortcuts.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever made one?
No.
Okay, so let's say, for example, you want to make a meeting to do a
So where is
podcast.
it?
Okay,
Where do I
well,
go?
the shortcut will make the meeting for you and then send it out to the people you want to who needs to be on it, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to do any typing, and you can use
I
Siri
wonder
to
where
do
it's
that.
at.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I can't
we're a
find it
long
here,
ways
but
away from it. But it's coming. I would say probably by the time my grandson's out of high school, it's going to be pretty common.
oh yeah,
You know,
big time.
maybe 10,
So
15
so
years from now. But
a couple of
in
other
my case,
things.
I'll be in the nursing home by then, so I won't have to worry about it. All that I've got to do is tell it to make sure you turn the channel to Walker Texas Ranger at 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day, right? Or MASH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 31 new emojis are also being introduced with the beta. So I don't know if you use emojis at all, but
A little bit, not much. Um,
yeah.
what's some of the new emojis?
Well, they've got a picture of them here. Looks like a pickle, a paintbrush, a goose, a heart. I don't know what else is on there.
Okay.
They got a donkey too. Maybe the Democrats are going to be on.
Well, if they're Democrat, you got to put a Republican on there. Got to put an elephant.
All right. I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says the first beta brought a few changes to how you navigate Apple Podcasts. Now you can
Okay.
access podcasts channels you subscribe to in your library. You can
Okay.
also use the up next to resume podcast episodes that you started. Music app
Okay.
changes. The music
Oh,
interface has been
classical
slightly
music.
modified.
What's it say about classical music?
I don't know.
I think there's a separate category. David Sparks said something today about on his podcast that
Yeah.
there's a special area where you have classic. For years, Apple Music took the heat not having classical music on it, iTunes,
Yeah.
and they finally got it on there about a month, right before the first year, but it's kind of hard to find. So I guess now they're going to enhance that library so it's easier to use. So, I mean, they do that.
Well,
What do
they're
they do? I like jazz, so what do they do it for jazz too, right?
yeah, and they're
But
introducing two new keyboards for the Choctaw and Chickasaw languages. Pocahontas will be happy.
what? Well, yeah, that's where she's from, Oklahoma. That's Choctaw, and Chickasaw. So
I thought
I'm
she was
sure. Yeah.
Cherokee.
What's that?
I thought she was Cherokee.
She is Cherokee. She is Cherokee because I remember Glenn Beck and his sidekick. They did a parody on Pocahontas about, remember there's an old song by Mark Lindsay, Paul Revere and the Raiders called Cherokee Nation. And they played that song and they some of the words they used was regarding Pocahontas. It was really funny.
It was just
Cherokee
kind of interesting.
Nation. You remember that
I
song?
just don't understand. I don't understand how there would be a need for Native American keyboards these days.
Well,
You
Apple, they're woke,
Well, the other thing is, and I guess I'll let you start talking a little about what's going on at Apple, but one of the things that we noticed this week is that the M2 powered Mac Mini is down to just $549.
Good buy.
I'm not sh-
That's an excellent buy.
I'm not sure what that means. Are they coming out with a new Mini or they're
No, I think they've got the M3 out already on the Mac Mini, and they've got M M2 Max, higher powerful ones. So,
Mhm.
this is a good deal for the person that that wants to go to a Mac that can't really afford it, because most people have a monitor or a keyboard laying around the house, and what they do, you can buy a Mac Mini, and presto, you're in the Mac universe. You're in Apple. Okay, for
Now
less
you had a
than
Mac Mini at
five.
one time.
I've had a Mac Mini. Mac Minis are great. I've had two Mac Minis.
Oh,
Okay,
you had two of them.
I had two of them. I had one that was kind of underpowered, and then I upgraded about 2 years later up to a more powerful one. Had it for years. Matter of fact, I think I traded. I think I junked it the other day. I think I took
Hmm.
it into Best Buy and dropped it off. But the good thing about the Mac Mini is that you can take that lid off in the back, and then you can put new RAM in it, more
Mhm.
RAM in it, or a bigger hard drive. So it is
Would
upgradable.
you ever
Not so much,
would you ever
huh?
consider getting a Mac Mini again?
I would, but I don't like a lot of cables around my desk. And
Mhm.
the deal is with the iMac is you got one cable and that's it, the power cable. Okay, with
Right.
the Mac Mini, you got the power cable, you got all the cables that go along with it, and it just, if you got two screens, well, then you got problems there. So you get just more and more cables. So that's the reason why
Yeah.
I just ended up getting an iMac eventually after a bunch of years, because I didn't, it was just, I just didn't want a bunch of cables laying around all the, you got to manage them, and you
Yeah.
know all about cable management. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Or the lack of.
um yeah, and especially if you got a standing desk, that's even worse, because it's hard to manage cables with a standing desk. And so that's the reason why I went to an iMac. Plus, you still got to have a camera, all that kind of stuff. But no, Mac Minis are fine. It's a good introduction to the Mac system. And
Mhm.
if you need a Plex server or a server in the house, not too many people have that anymore. But Mac Minis, I mean, there's server farms that got thousands of them in it.
Yeah.
Okay, you know.
Yeah.
and they're stackable. They're easily stackable.
Right.
So they came out with the M2. Mac Mini is a good product.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mac Studio almost looks just like it, except it's thicker, and it's got more ports in it.
Well, I've
That's a
always
very
wanted to
powerful
get one.
machine.
I've always wanted to get one. I just haven't bit the bullet.
Well, now's the time
Did
to
you
get one.
do you like my donation from Elon? My background? Do you see what he sent me?
Well, what he sent you?
Starbase a Starbase picture
Oh, he sent that personally,
at night.
or his people sent it to you, or one of the ex
Doug.
Twitter employees gave it to you.
Yeah, one of the ex Twitter employees gave it to me.
He fired a bunch again this week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he fired a bunch again this week.
Well, let's
Hey,
go on and talk about Apple.
Elon. What's that?
Yeah, he's let's go ahead and talk about Apple now. What's new in
Well,
the Apple world?
the big rumor is the 15-inch Mac Air.
The 15
And
inch Mac Air.
15-inch Mac Air. That's what everybody's waiting
Wow.
for. And evidently there's some good sources out there that Apple has bought out wherever I forget the name of the place, but there's a place that makes screens, makes the screens, and they bought them all. Okay.
Wow.
And so they're either the 15-inch Mac Airs are either getting made or they're in the pipeline, and they may be sticking it somewhere in a warehouse in Wuhan or something, But it looks like it's going to happen. I think they'll probably announce it. I don't think they're going to wait till September or October when they usually announce the Macs. I think they're probably going to announce it and have it available probably for WWDC in June.
Wow.
And the reason for that is that a lot of developers, like that Mac Air, that Mac Air with the M2 or M3 chip in it is, just as powerful as a MacBook now. And it about half the price.
Now, why
So
would you think
they can
they
get
would opt to make a larger Mac Air versus not settling on a MacBook Pro?
Why would you want a
Why do you
15-inch
think
Mac Air?
Right.
That's just another market. They can get in another
Yeah.
market. It's just there's a lot of people that the 13-inch Mac Air is too small for them. They think it's too small. And I'll give you a good example. There's a guy on Leo's station on MacBrick Weekly named Lindsay, okay? And he is a producer of, he's like a streaming genius, okay? All these news conferences and stuff, where Biden was in Philadelphia last summer when Biden was in hell with the two Marines behind him in red, if you remember that last summer. Well, he streamed that. So his company, takes care of that stuff. And he has a daily podcast that's on YouTube and his channel. It's called Office Global. Okay. And where they get tech people and they talk for like 4 hours a day about tech, about problems they've had with their microphone or how to do some graphics or whatever. Okay. And they even have a cooking show on there. And so he says that he hates his 13-inch Mac Air and he can't wait till he get a 15-inch Mac Air.
Yeah.
So so he likes it. So I think there's going to be a lot of people like developers, and there's some students that would rather have a 15-inch. Okay. And they're quite a bit cheaper than a MacBook. To say you're running a business, Okay. And you would rather spend half as much money for a Mac Air for your employees than you would for for a 15-inch MacBook.
Right.
So there's a
Yeah,
market
it makes
for it. I
sense.
don't know how much that market will be, but
I mean,
okay.
I can tell you from experience that the Mac Air 13 is definitely still small. The screen is small.
That's
My
the reason why
daughter
they
has
go
a
to
Mac
15
Air
inch. Yeah. They want to go to 15
13,
inch.
and I do see that the screen is small.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that's probably the
especially when
biggest,
you.
the most recent that's going to come out. Probably WDC. There's some rumors about there's a lot of good rumors about the VR headset.
Right.
Okay. One rumor is they're going to use glasses. Okay. And the other rumor is a headset. And some rumors are they're going to do both the glasses and the headset. I think the glasses, they got some problems with the glasses. A little hard to do. Google did it about 10 years ago. You remember that?
Right.
Okay. And Apple's kind of, the technology is not quite there for that. But the
Yeah.
VR headset, is supposed to sell for like $3,000 or something. And it's
Oh my
a
gosh.
AR VR technology.
Uh,
Okay. And rumor has it was supposed to come out in January. Obviously, that didn't happen. I think what'll happen is that they'll probably, Tim will get up on, Tim Apple will get up on stage and say just one more thing, and then here comes the headsets, and then all the developers will be there. Now, chances are the developers are going to be. It's still going to be a virtual meeting keynote. It's like they have been doing the last 2 years because of
yeah.
COVID. I don't think
Right.
Apple's going to fill up that. Everybody seems to think that Apple's not going to do the Steve Jobs theater ever again. They're just going to use the virtual stuff they use on
Now,
where you can watch them.
does Tim participate in WWDC?
He does. He gets up there in the beginning of WWDC and he says, "Oh, welcome. We've got some great products." And he'll tell a story about how the Apple Watch saved somebody's life, and then
Yeah.
he'll break it off to the other people, mostly engineers
Yeah, I
now,
just thought
program
that for some
managers.
reason he only came out in September.
No, he's there for a little bit, not much, and then sometimes he's a closer, but
Yeah.
I think he'll on a new product launch, I think he'll introduce it, and then whoever is the chief engineer, I think it's this guy named Johnny Sarugi. Okay. And they'll cut to the Apple super secret laboratory, where they have all the Apple products, and all the benches will be covered with blank with a cover on them, and he's German or Russian. He talks with his accent. Oh, this is Dr. Strangelove, and we've got a new process here, a new chip, that, and a new product, he'll tell all about it. And then that way the developers can write the software during the summer
Yeah.
for it, all the apps and stuff. And then they'll probably introduce it like in October
Yeah.
after the iPhone, after the iPhone. So,
Yeah.
and have it ready for Christmas. But I don't know how many they're going to sell. I mean, it's going to be, they say it's going to be pretty expensive, but just like one guy said, he says, when the iPad, there's rumors about the iPad, was coming out, and they said, oh, it's going to be like $2,000. Well, it turned out to be, they said nobody will be able to afford it. It turned out the original
Right.
iPads were $500. Okay.
Yeah.
So they, so it all depends, but they've got to get the price down a little bit. But, I guess that's okay. Virtual or
Yeah.
AR. I've never really done that. I've never used it virtual. Have you? A headset?
Actually, my daughter has done the Microsoft HoloLens over there up in San Antonio at the Microsoft store.
Okay.
It's the same mall that has the Apple store.
Yeah. My grandson's got
Yeah.
the the headset, and he can box and, and sword fight and all that kind of stuff. They
Yeah.
wanted me to try it up when we were up there for Christmas, and I never really got it. I never got around to trying it. But I know baseball. I know baseball players. Major League Baseball players, and I'm sure minor league baseball players, and even college is using the headsets when they bat,
Right.
or pitch,
And
and
good
so there's
practice.
definitely a need for it,
Yeah.
you know. And
Well,
but
what's
I
the
think
deal?
that's the
Is
reason
there
why
a
your iPad there
Go ahead.
has. What year is your iPad? Is it an old one?
It's an old one. It's I think one of the very
Okay,
first pros.
okay. Your daughter's got a new iPad, right?
Right. She's got the brand new iPad Pro.
Okay, that's got the LiDAR technology in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think they've got something. The rumor is that the headset and this LiDAR technology, there's something going on between the two.
Yeah.
Because why would Apple come up with on the phone, like Diva's new iPhone, it's got LiDAR technology on it. I'm sure your wife's got the same thing, but nobody uses it
Yeah.
now, right? But I think when
Right.
the headset comes out, it will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
So
they're
see,
talking about an iPhone 15 Pro Max coming out in September.
with the telescope lens,
Well, let me click on the article here.
yeah, it's got a telescope lens on it.
Suppo- Supposedly that's what it looks like, but you know how
Yeah,
that
the three
is.
cameras or four cameras.
It's three cameras. It's
Yeah,
going to
one of the
have
camera
curved titanium
has a
sides.
telescope lens that, yeah,
Now, what's interesting is it's going to be coming with Thunderbolt USB C. No more Lightning connector.
yeah. And the reason why they did that is because Europeans, common market over there, the EU as
Yeah.
they call it, they passed a law that said everything's got to be, all their chargers got to be USB C on all the phones.
Was that because Greta was complaining?
Probably. How dare you? Okay. And so, Apple, they're not going to make two different phones, one for USB C and one for Lightning port. So that's the reason why, like the new iPads, like your daughter's, it should have
Yeah.
USB C on it, right?
Correct. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then, so that's what they're going to do. So probably when the new iPhones come out, worldwide, they're all going to be USB C,
Yeah. Well,
which
that's
is
going to be
okay. There's
interesting to
even a
see.
rumor. I even heard a rumor that there's no charger. You won't have to charge them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, look at this. It says the camera bump could change to accommodate the rumored periscope telephoto
Periscope. Yeah.
camera. Yep.
Yeah. That's the
USB
big
C.
deal. I think, like I said, we were up at T-Mobile yesterday and I was looking at on the wall at all the Samsung phones and stuff and how they got like 4 cameras on them now, you
Yeah.
know? And so,
Yeah.
but no, I'm sure they will. They'll probably, I don't know, we might even see this, something you can't see on the phone, but we may even see the Apple doing their own modems, because Apple's been wanting to do their own modems for years. Apple likes to be
Right.
in control of their own destiny, and they buy all these modems from Qualcomm, and I guess they figure that
Yeah.
they're leaving money on the paper, leaving money on the table, buying all these
Yeah.
modems, and so you know it's been rumored for a long, long time, but I think Apple was afraid to, you know, hate to do it on them, millions and millions of iPhones they sell. So maybe they could have
Right.
the technology down.
Yeah.
I know they've got it down on the Max, with the silicon chips and stuff and on the iPhone. So,
Right.
you know,
Right.
yeah, but
Well, that'll be interesting to see what gets released in September there for this iPhone 15.
yeah, I think there might be a possibility too for WWDC that you may see new Mac Pro with an M2 or M3 chip. It'd probably be like an M3 Ultra. You know, I'm talking about the cheese grater.
Right.
That's the
old
only
cheese grater,
Mac that
yeah.
hasn't been updated to silicon. Is a cheese grater.
Yeah, because it's still Intel based.
Yeah, and so rumor is that they're finally going to switch over to they're either going to discontinue it altogether and just go with the studio, the Mac Studio, or what they're going to do is they're going to put like some super duper M3 or M Ultra, M chip Ultra on her. That's supposed to be like
Right.
super fast. Okay.
Well, one thing you haven't mentioned is well, the story came out on Leo's show earlier this week. Microsoft licensed Windows 11 to run on Apple Silicon.
I heard that. Yep. Yep, that's true.
Now, why would they do that? Why would they give away the keys to the hen house?
I think it's just something they can put Microsoft 11 on, you know. I mean, I think Microsoft pretty much is.
Do you think that there is a need to run Windows apps on a Mac from time to time?
They say they do. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that, you know, they won't buy a Mac because they have software that won't run, that it won't run on a Mac. It's only Windows based. Okay.
Well, I'll give you an example. AutoCAD.
Well, for example, AutoCAD. Okay. Everyone right there. You could probably use. I don't think they even do it in boot camp anymore, are they?
No, this is Windows 11 on Parallels.
On Parallels. They say Parallels is quite good now. Very good.
Yeah.
There's really no problem at all. They think they're going to sell more Macs. They can, Microsoft, they're not much of a hardware company anymore. They're all software, and then if they can
cloud.
Sell some, they can put the operating system on some Macs, on some old legacy software. I mean,
and now keep in mind that for those people that do want to run Windows 11, it's not going to be for free. They will have to buy a Windows 11 license in addition to Parallels.
Right. So,
but definitely, if you would want to run an AS400 connection, I could see.
That's what I was going to say. That's what an AS400 connection, like we used to have, which I'm sure they still have it. Okay.
Doug, you'd be surprised how many companies still run on that old ironclad machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. There was all kinds of different variations.
I mean, it's amazing how green screen technology just doesn't disappear.
No, just well,
some of your,
what happened. They, at work, they tried to keep your ex-boss tried to upgrade, and it was going to cost millions of dollars, and he could never get funding for that and stuff. Remember
we
those
tried
days?
A few times.
He'd bring people in. He'd bring a vendor in, and we'd all have a meeting and stuff, in the conference room, and tell them what we need, and it wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, we could never get what was it when we tried converting you over to what was the name of that what was the name of that software? It was web-based, remember? It was Microsoft's, and we wanted to move all your stuff over to it.
You're not talking about the old days of Stellent, do you? Stellent?
No, it was going to replace Stellent. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, it crashed when
that didn't quite work out.
When he had his little, your ex-boss had a little problem with some security features, if I remember right. we lost everything.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so
But no, there's still.
what a place. What a
Hey,
place.
what's the deal with this Apple vice president of cloud engineering departs in April?
He
Do
has
you know
moved
anything about this
on.
guy?
I mean, you know, I saw
Yeah,
that.
his name
Yeah, he
was
is.
what the heck was his name?
Yeah,
Uh
I read the article. Um, I think they picked him up from Google. They're all jockeying for positions and stuff. As much money as they can get.
yeah.
And so he probably got a better deal somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I hope he didn't go to work for
Anything else?
Twitter.
Oh God, no, he wouldn't last very long.
It wouldn't last very
One
long.
meeting with
No.
Elon would be enough.
Mr. Musk doesn't like to pay a whole lot of salary. Okay.
Yeah, and he got rid of all the free drinks and
Free drinks,
food.
free lunches.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the legal team they had and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, and you look at that guy leaves and they hired another guy to work on Apple TV. Okay.
Yeah.
So, they come and go, But, some of the old school, the guys like, Johnny Ives and the guy in charge of marketing and Eddie Q and those guys, they're getting a little bit long in the tooth. And not only that, they don't need the money. Okay.
Yeah.
And so why should we be working 70 hours a week when we have all the money that we'll possibly ever spend? So,
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised to see
And
Tim Apple leaving in a couple years, year or two,
wow.
because he
Well,
gives all his money
Foxconn.
away anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. He gives it to his alma mater down there at Auburn. Okay.
Oh yeah. He's
And
an
so,
Alabama boy.
yeah, and, he lives in his little townhome. And I don't, we don't know if he has a companion or not. Probably does. That's okay too. And
Yeah.
he lives a very simple life. And, you know, I
Well,
think
when
he's
you
in
have that
his,
much money, what else can you buy? You know?
well, for years, Jobs only took a salary of $1 a year.
I
Okay.
know. And he had no
But he
furniture
had
in
all
his
the
living
perks
room.
though.
Yeah.
He got to fly, for private plane. They paid for that. They paid for his car lease, all that other stuff. Okay. Plus he had all
Yeah.
the stock options.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Of course, he had no
so
furniture in his living room.
yeah, when he had that mansion, I wonder if they ever tore that mansion down he had lived in
I
with
don't know.
Joan Baez, if you remember her.
She used to be a 60s rock person, no?
Yeah, he had an affair with Joan Baez for a number of years.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. And then
So Foxconn announced that they're building a $700 million iPhone plant in India, and it's a way to reduce manufacturing dependence on China.
yep.
That really
Yeah, even
surprising.
the chip manufacturers are moving away from Taiwan, okay, because they sense a war may be coming from Red China. So, they're moving out. They're either going to Vietnam or they're going to India, maybe Brazil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it the other
Yeah.
thing was that there was a lot of COVID shutdowns still going on in China?
There was. I think the Red Chinese finally, what's his name? Chi over there. He finally
Yeah.
realized that he couldn't lock everybody. He couldn't weld everybody up in their house, right? And so he opened it up and been kind of quiet over
Yeah.
there. So we all know what's going on over here now.
You're right.
His name is the Bat Soup didn't have anything to do with it, right?
Right.
And so I think you're going to see more and more businesses pulling away from, especially Taiwan, because the chip manufacturers are all in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Apple's making they have a chip. That was like a 3 millimeter or 3 nanometer chip or something that they started in Arizona. Biden, you know, he remembered he had to go there one day and he was there and they go, oh yeah, all kinds of stuff. But that's not on an iPhone, that chip isn't. That's on like on a Mac, that chip is.
Uh-huh.
And so, but the iPhone chips are like 3 nanometers or something. And they're
Something
putting
like that.
everything on the chip now. So, but I look for India. I look for them to be out of Red China here pretty soon.
Yeah,
And
they're
not only
starting
that,
to
their
move out of
vendors are
China.
leaving too. Okay, the
Yeah.
vendors that supply the Foxconn, they're leaving in droves.
Wow.
Because they kind of see the writing on the wall. Okay, so yeah, it's tough
So
to
what
do
kind of
business there,
pizza?
especially when you got to give the red Chinese government, 50% of the company.
I know.
And then you got to
So
put
what
up
kind
all
of
the
pizza do you
politics and
like,
stuff.
Doug?
Huh?
What kind of pizza do you like? Do you like
What pizza do I
Domino's,
like?
Pizza Hut?
Well, if you
Yeah.
if you buy a Pizza Hut pizza today, okay, you get $5 off on the next one if you pay
I
by
know.
Apple Card.
I know. I don't like Pizza Hut. I like Domino's, you know.
You like Domino's? We kind of like Little
Yeah.
Caesars,
Okay.
okay?
You know the one that
And
I
then the
liked?
pizza
Go
place
ahead.
over on the island.
Yeah. The pizza
Yeah.
joint?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But we usually go
Yeah,
Little Caesar.
the one that I like is Papa John's.
Oh,
Those that
you
one's
ought to hear
pretty
Diva talk about Papa John's. She says, I can't stand that. I remember I was living
uh
in Wichita, Kansas when Papa John's first got started. The guy that started Papa John's started Pizza Hut, right?
didn't know that.
Yeah. And it started in Wichita, Kansas. And so that guy that started it, okay, he sold Pizza Hut. There was a couple brothers, I think, started it. One died or whatever. And he sold Pizza Hut to PepsiCo.
Uh-huh.
And so they own a lot of stuff. Okay. And then on his deal, on his package that he got all this money, said he couldn't start a Pizza Hut for 5 years or couldn't start a pizza place for 5 years. So he moved to Canada and he was up there for a few years. And then the statute of limitations went over and he moved back to Wichita and started Papa John's. Because I remember when Papa
Yeah.
John started, I remember when they had one restaurant.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that was my Christmas present from my current employer. I didn't get a train set like our previous employer.
Is, is there a Papa John's down here?
Yeah, there is. It's on Morrison. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I never was. And we had it a couple of times in Wichita, but I didn't think it was that good.
By the way, I
Pizza
still
Hut,
have those train sets.
Pizza Hut. I have probably eaten Pizza Hut pizza because it's too kind of greasy.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know what happens after that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You get the
yeah.
runs. Well, I still have those train sets, by the way.
I'm all out of train sets. I gave my last one
Actually,
away.
I didn't use the train set this Christmas because I had to make a smaller Christmas village. I typically use
Okay.
those train sets, but I decided to buy a smaller train set that I just bought at Walmart for like $20. I never turned it on, to be honest with you.
I wonder what kind of stuff they found when they cleaned Plant 9 out.
God knows.
You know, they moved it, right?
Yeah, I know that. They moved it over here to the Titan place.
I wonder what kind of crap they found. I bet they found all kinds of crap in there. There's probably windshield wipers left over from. There used to be years ago. They decided that marketing decided that SUVs needed windshield wipers. You know, particular windshield wipers, and they oh, this is the next thing because women drive SUVs and they want to get a windshield wiper. So I don't know. It was a new program. This is before I was there, and it didn't sell. And they had, God, George had thousands and thousands of those, and they couldn't use them for anything else. Same thing with the color blades. You remember the color blades?
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. They didn't sell either. There's probably some color blades still there.
There's probably a
Was
lot of
I don't know what they
scrap.
did with them.
God
But
knows.
hey, that's all the inventory for the main man, right? He can borrow
Right.
against that,
Right.
which I'm sure he did.
Yep. All righty, Doug. Well, we've gone for an hour and a half, even though we got interrupted by an internet outage.
Yeah.
So we've got to get going here soon on our baseball.
Anytime. 27 more days till opening day.
Ah, okay. Well, I've
Yeah.
been working on the
Baseball wise,
screens.
the spring training. Diva bought me the MLB package on my TV. So,
Yeah.
I've got it all year. And then WBC, the World Baseball Congress, is going to start like next week. Okay, most of the players are leaving camp, and they go play for their country, right? We got Israel and Korea, and Japan, United States, Canada, Venezuela, of course, Dominican Republic, Netherlands, England. They're all playing it's like an Olympics type deal. That'll last for about 2 weeks, and they come back, and then they play spring training for about 2 weeks, and then the first game is March 29th, I think it is.
Oh, wow.
Not too far away.
Not too far away. Well, we'll
I'll be watching them on TV tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah. Well, definitely we'll be putting out an announcement soon when we'll start. So.
Okay, Dan.
All righty, Doug. Well, you have a good evening, everybody.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you for. Yep. Thank you for
Always
watching,
a pleasure.
everybody, and we apologize for the internet outage tonight. It was out of our control.
Okay.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.